Greetings. I think we're live. How are you doing? Let's go like that. Have to do all the usual. Zoom in. Move this over here. Let's see. We'll get people showing up here in a minute. I need to do the copy paste of all this stuff. Here, you can take a look at this. Look at this. This is pretty cool. Go like that. Make that go away. There. Da-da-da. Del Norte EDM Chill for Kontakt 5 is becoming a reality. We're going to look at that and play with it. We'll talk about the making of it. It's kind of a fun process. Don't know if you guys know all the steps involved, so we'll share that. And live streaming on YouTube now. It always shows, yeah, the wrong thumbnail, but that's okay. Stay on this page. And now we can leave this page. On YouTube now. All right. All right. That's taken care of. Let's see here. Oh, I got to put stuff over here on this page too. I got so many places I have to share what's going on. So go here. 1 second. Be right with you. It's like I'm in a music store. Hold on, sir. Take this phone call. I'll be right back. So go here. Mute. If you want to chat, join us at YouTube. There. All right. How's everybody doing? What is the word of the week? It's been an interesting week. Let's say greetings. Thank you, Dennis. Dennis is saying congrats for the new house. Yes, thank you. I will be sharing some interesting, lovely footage, video footage of that in a minute. I have a few treats to show you guys. You know, got to keep things interesting around here. And since this is a fun hang, I'm going to have fun. So let's get this to be the right size. Oh, like that in the corner and zoom in a little bit more. My daughter is here. I have to tell you what they are doing. They are so crazy. They are currently in the process. They bought 4 packs of Pringles. And on, I don't know if it's on Pinterest or somewhere, but there's this wreath you can make by stacking Pringles. And it takes no glue or nothing. They just stack and you can make them into a wreath. So they're going to try to make a wreath. So if you hear laughing and stuff downstairs, that's because there's a whole bunch of teenage girls here doing wreaths out of Pringles. Anyway, thank you. So yes, let's do a house update first. The house, I have the keys. I have signed all the paperwork. I am in debt for the rest of my life. I think I pay it off in like 2047 or something like that. Maybe it's longer than that. I think 47 or 77. Because it's, no, 30 years. So 17, 27, 30, 47. So greetings, Hola GT, Empirical, how all of these great names. It's great to see so many people here. So yeah, this is a quick tour of me going to the house and going up to the studio. So you can see the room I have to work with. Let's do this. Where's it going to show up? Oh, let's go like this and pause. You won't hear this one. I'm going to drag one over in a minute for my dog because you got to hear this one because I got her to talk and be very silly here recently. And so I want to share that. Why not, right? So here is, yeah. So this is from outside. Let's see, I have to resize it to fit the screen because I've shortened down the screen. So this is the outside of my lovely house. What I'm so happy with, I live really close to a really busy street, like right next to me, of like all the thoroughfare traffic, trucks and everything. And this is a house where the front yard, looking out of my house, I'm looking into the backyard of someone else. It's a flag lot. You drive down the driveway to get to the street. So there's no street. Lovely. So here is... I bought the sofa. I wanted to keep the sofa that they had. It's got a nice front rooms layout. Up the carpeted stairs and to the right. And that's the studio. So there's a lot of work. It's got some funny rings when you clap. But I love the shape of it. You know, half of the vibe of this is just a place that you feel good working. And I felt really, really good in this room. So I'm really excited. So here's my lovely daughter. And so that's the house. Can't wait. So I want to thank you guys. It's you guys, my customers, that have helped make it possible to even buy a house. I mean, it's awesome. So thank you all for your support. It means a great deal to me and my family. Check this out. So this I'm going to drag over here. Open the movie. Movie has a key frame rate. Let's use 29.97. So this is Athena. We were going to go on a walk, and she is rather excited about her treat. She has a... Oh, this is so large. I'm just not even going to fit. Do I have a resize button? Let's see if I go like that. I can resize it. Wow. There we go. Okay. So here, make this go away for a second. So this is silly. I'm promising you it's silly, but this is what we do around my house sometimes. Athena loves... Oh, let's see. I can resize it this way. Athena loves to talk, and so here we go. Let's see. Did you want to go for a walk? Is that what's going on? Do you want to go for a walk, Athena? What are you gonna say? You gotta talk. Oh, you're excited. No, you gotta talk. Talk some more. Oh yeah. And when we go on the walk, does that mean you're going to go look for hills? She loves to walk on hills. You like hills, don't you? It's pretty silly. Yes, you do. Oh, my. And where's your rope? Show me your rope. Where'd your rope go? Athena, where's your rope? Huh? Right here, right in front of me. Oh, you're so... Oh, that's your rope. Is that your rope? We can tug. You want to tug for a minute? Gotta pull. Gonna pull? All right, we're gonna go outside. You really want to walk, don't you? Anyway, so that's what we do. She likes to talk, so I thought I'd share that. Everybody asks me, I get these emails, how's your dog? What's your dog up to? It's not about the sounds, it's about the dog. So, you know, there you go. She's fine. She's going to go stay with Caroline for a little while we're doing the move, I think. So we'll figure that out. But anyway, thank you again for the support. It's awesome to have fun, crazy customers. And you guys are awesome. And the emails I get just make me laugh all the time. And the music, you guys are sending cool music, new music to listen to, music you've done. People asking if I master. I don't do mastering, by the way. Hey, Bernie's here from Holland. It's good to see everybody. Jocko's here. It's like this whole little week hang we have, you know. I'm hoping to do hangs at my new house, so we'll see how that goes. But let's talk about this. This is Del Norte, which is coming out for Kontakt 5. And as you can see, if we compare this to other libraries I have done in the past, this is quite the interface compared to, well, we started, let's do the history. So we started with Super Macho drums, doing, let's say, actually, Mega Macho was the first kit that I did, and I gave it away. Oh, that's nice. What's going on here? I know that it's there. Let's do this. Let's go Super Macho drums. Delete, because maybe I renamed them or something. I was cleaning up. I'm going to rename and organize all the libraries a little bit better. Maybe I did rename it and that made it so it got confused. So we go over here and say put Super Macho drums over here. So it can connect to its directories. So we started with Mega Macho drums, and I decided to lose the licensing and do things that require just the Kontakt player. Because it just gets really expensive and confusing, and I had a lot of tech support issues with serial numbers and all that kind of stuff with Mega Macho drums. It was, considering how much you're paying for their licensing and stuff, and the preparing and all that stuff, it was I found not to be worth the financial endeavor. And so yeah, so we started with Mega Macho drums was the first kit. And if I'm over here, and I did this interface where you have the 6 different control panels, and I've kept that with everything ever since. The cool thing with this is that you have the ability to have this drum have reverb and weird effects, which I don't currently have set to the default. And everything else be dry. So people have been really doing cool production stuff with this interface. After this, we did Mega Magic pads, and this is one where this is actually included with Mega Magic pads because I didn't need it to be more than just filter and amp and the reverb settings and simple EQ settings and cutoff, and that was it. So that's included with Mega Magic pads because I was able to have Aaron. I have a scripting guy named Aaron that put this together in just a couple days. It wasn't a very big project. And then we did the Mega Magic Dreams, Bells and Winds, and then Guitars was the latest, where we use the same basic interface, minus the ability to switch samples because it's single sampled. But from Del Norte, we made it much bigger. And we went back and we revisited some things. We improved the reverb settings and stuff are now part of the actual audio chain, so it makes the reverb even richer than it was in the We're going to look at updating all my previous Kontakt 5 instruments, I believe, because I want to get them all updated. But if you notice, there's now an attack and a body, as well as filtering and the other stuff that we have available. And these are totally new. It's a totally different concept that I wanted to go with for this because of the concept of the library. And so I wanted to keep kind of what was happening with the Omnisphere version. I wanted to make that available for the Kontakt 5 version. And so the history of this, check this out. So I don't know if you know how this works, but I sent this as a concept of what I wanted to do. Let's a little graphic visual story here. This was the first thing I sent to Aaron saying, I want to expand it to be where I have an attack and a body. I want them to be separate because we have all these really cool attack samples that are tuned percussion. And then we have the body, which is the virus samples. And this would allow us to have access to each one and change them. And I didn't get really specific about it, but then I went into another one that was more specific. And he came through, and this was the first version where he used Mega Magic Bells Winds and went in and rewrote the script. Improved this. Glitch has some new things that he added to it that were really incredible. I'll show you. And then here we had this set up for here to be the attack element, and then here's the body element. And so at this point, I sent this to the guy that does all the artwork, all the photos, the beautiful photos that I have sent, and he does the text and the artwork, and that's Matt Chowski. He lives in Poland, believe it or not. And so I said, here's what I'm thinking of. I took Bells and Winds and changed it and just kind of like this was one of the working project ideas. And this was the first version that he sent to me. He goes, what about wood? And I was like, maybe. It's EDM, so that needs to be kind of slick, but the chill makes it kind of like, it's got to have some beauty to it. And so he worked on this where he had the solid bars with the rivets. And I was like, it's a little too, legit, or like too serious. Like it's some sort of like a lawyer's desk office piece or something. And so we worked on another version, and this was closer to what I was looking for. He took, if you notice, this has the knobs from Super Macho drums, all that stuff, and he modified and changed it to where they're all different knobs. There's a knob program. I don't know if you know this. There's a program that you give it the design that you want to create. Let's see, I don't have it available right here, but you give it the design that you want to create, and it will take and generate all 127 steps of the knobs gradation and the values for the LED color you want, all that stuff. And then he had it where it wasn't really clear that it was in the attack and the body. So I'm like, no, we have to make this clear. So then he worked on it some more, sent me back another version. Hello? Where now we have attack and body, and we were getting, this was like last week, like last 10 days ago or so. And we got closer, and I said, well, I want something that's more like ED. There needs to be a picture, something, because I went to the trip to Northern California to make the sounds. And so I sent him this, and then I sent him this, which was taking a photo and then just photoshopping in the elements. And then he did the final, where it's lighter and it's perfectly integrated with the trees. And this is the version that we have to work with. Hey! They're teenagers, so we will hear yelling. It's just going to happen, right? So that's the process. That's like the last 2 months of back and forth, working a little, getting things closer while I was working on Omnipulse 2. We were doing the end of Percussa at the time that he was working on this and stuff. So that's the work to get to this point. And then I started to think about one thing that was bugging me. So in the layout, when you click here, you have all these really cool, all the attacks. And so we can do this. So if I turn down the volume here, turn up the volume here. And we have arrows, so we can go through all of them. You have, right? Reverb. Get the So I wanted a couple things that I hadn't seen. Well, I'll talk about these other parameters here in a minute. I want to finish what the sound source of this is beefed up from the Omnisphere version, and I want to cover that. So I have all of the attack samples, right? That we have. There's the effect versions, which are the right. Those are available. Here's the. We have it so it shows a little brackets around the name that's currently selected, so you see which of the things in the list are selected. Right? You also have all the wind samples, all the different attacks, and including the loops. And I kept them nice and cheesy because when you layer that, gives you that nice D50 vibe, that kind of like there's, you know? Down towards the end of this list, it gets into some like, I think noise 16 and 15 are my favorites for. And once you go to the reverb, and you need a little tone verb. You bring down the filter. It gets really cool, really fast. Okay, so one thing Omnisphere has that I used a lot that I wasn't thinking about when doing this, because I have the virus sounds. All of these sounds down here are the virus. Different. What do you hear? They're all detuned, unison, bright, beautiful. All these, you know, there's a mute guitar stuff, but you go to the strings. I didn't have any waveforms. I didn't have any like sawtooth, saw, triangle, unique waveforms. And I was like, I really would like to incorporate, because so much of the EDM snappy stuff is getting yourself some sort of nice little you know, and then go down to the end of the list. And these are all waveforms from my modular synthesizers. So you can, so I sampled, I can't get this over there where you see all of them. I don't want to lose my connections. But I sampled a number of different synthesizers, including the Waldorf, which is really cool. These are Atari chips. So these ones that say Atari, check this out. These are really happening. Hey, Scott. Scott in Texas. Welcome. So, and notice that these I had, Aaron had a great idea to name the waveforms yellow. So when you get to the end of the list, these are all from my modulars. And you get to like Atari and badass sound. Okay, so there's the Atari stuff here. We'll go through Pulse, Embellish. A number of those over there can do wavetables that are really cool. Organish, electric piano-ish, so you can, but it's modular synthesizer waveforms. These waveforms are not in the Omnisphere 2 version of Del Norte. This is special to the Kontakt 5 version. We'll see. One of the things you have to realize, inside of Omnisphere, I am kind of limited in that I'm using patches in multi-mode to pull off getting to play multiple samples, right? So when you go looking at the multis and you go to Del Norte, even these guys that were fairly complex, there's still only 7 samples being used across the keyboard. That's Lady Bird. If I go to the Kontakt 5 version of Lady Bird, let's go here. And let's have it be so I have a nice long reverb, and let's make it nice and warm and reverby to start with. Oh, let's kill this. Okay. If I go to the list, and we pop up the big editor in Omnisphere, or in Kontakt 5, and we go to the mapping editor, this is where all of the maps for everything are laid out. And if we go to Lady Bird, right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think this is using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 samples for this. Okay, I only have 7 in the Omnisphere version. That's the maximum number. I could have done 8, but then I wouldn't have the layer for the attacks. So I have limitations in Omnisphere, and I made more samples because I was planning it to be for Kontakt 5, and I wanted to have more samples. when you get to the modular instruments, the things that I sampled, it's more than 11. It's like, if we get down here to the wave stuff, these things here are across the entire keyboard. I think there's 15, 16 samples. Let's see, let's go so we can see the whole range, right? Actually, it won't even fit on the screen for one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So all of those synthesizer waveforms are 14 samples across the keyboard. Right? So there's limitations in Omnisphere because I'm not allowed to, we're not allowed to make sample maps. So I can't get carried away and include everything that I want to in Omnisphere. But that's not going to limit what I do. So I was planning on this being out for Kontakt 5, probably for ESX24 as well, but not with all the programming. There's crazy programming I can do here that I can't do in Kontakt or in. So this has more samples across the keyboard for everything. Everything sounds better than it does in Omnisphere as far as to the actual just playing the raw sampled waveforms, right? It doesn't mean the Omnisphere version is inferior. It's using less samples, but if you were to compare them side by side with the exact program, you probably could not tell the difference. But there is a bit of a stereo difference because there's more samples playing that are each having their own stereo image played, right? So I added that element of modular synthesizer waveforms on top of the attacks and on top of all the virus TI sounds. On top of that, I wanted to do it as well to here. So once you get through all the cool attacks, there's a little kind of like secret compartment you might consider where I put all the same waveforms here. So if you want, you could have blue strings playing here, right? Let's shape it a little bit. I wanted this to be a fast interface. Right? I could turn this up. Turn this down a little bit. I'm going to reroute this to the stereo. There's a layout I'll explain to you guys. Let's make that go away. The insert effect chain right here. I'm actually going to bring this threshold a little bit more. I'm still shaping this. This was just finalized a couple days ago. So we haven't even started the voicing work for this. This is just showing, this is what I have to play with, and this is what makes this different than Omnisphere, and I'm like a little kid in a candy store. I'm very, very excited. So here's the tools that we have to play with. Some that are unique that I haven't seen in a Kontakt 5 instrument before. Especially, I want to point out, there's a whole lot of Kontakt instruments. You can get to these things that are rather humongous. Let's see, I want to go over here and say movie, remove the movie. A lot of them, let me show you for example, and I don't mean to slam these guys because it's cool that they're doing it this way, and more power to them if that's how they want to do things. But it's a different religion. It's a different way of doing things. If you look at something like one of the new ones that just came out that's really cool from Heaviosity, here is something where you have, let's see, takes it a minute to load. Go like this. Hello. So here's Heaviosity's interface, and they have 4 pages to navigate. And it's really cool graphics. I mean, the ball that glows with the lights shining on the sphere that's reflective. That's awesome. Here's your ADSR, and it's shown in a unique way, I guess, you know, as far as to the shape. I mean, cool, you know. But I have no desire to make something that's 4 pages in size to navigate to change the sounds. And to have an interface that's really confusing like this, where you're looking at it and you have to read really closely what this is. And you find out This is reverb, chorus, delay, and distortion. That's it. There's no envelope controls on this page. Here you can go to the filter. You have EQs. You have a filter. Here's your attack, decay, sustain, release for the filter. Cool, but this interface just does not beg for you to edit it. It doesn't say, hey, I'm fast. I'm like a Ferrari. I'm going to get you where you need to go in seconds. I'm going to blow your mind. So this is more the speedy. Yeah, there we go. Sounds good. So what we have here, we have a couple cool things. First of all, for the attack sound, let's get something that we can hear really clear. Okay. Okay. So it's tracking the keyboard. Tune it down an octave. If I want, I have sample start. I have random for sample start. So it was changing just a little bit. I also have, so if I use the filter, and I decide I don't want it to use the filter, I have a bypass filter for each of the 2 layers. So I could have this be really spiky, and I could say skip that for the strings. So it's, I mean, I'm interested in things that are cool to change the sound easily. All this work to give you this EQ and distortion over on this side, I have those right here in a little switching box thing between 6 different effects. And so it's a much faster way to play. So it's a different layout. Omnisphere 2 effects versus K5. Omnisphere 2 has some incredibly good effects. There is no doubt about that. If you have the Kontakt 5 player, this will not work. I don't make libraries for the Kontakt 5 player. That requires me to pay thousands of dollars for a compiling fee for them to compile it into a Kontakt 5 player library. And then I have to pay up front for serial numbers that I give you a serial number from my website. And when I did this with Mega Macho drums, probably 15% of the serial numbers that were given were already in use. And it was just something I don't want to deal with. And I'm not that organized with the web stuff to make that happen. So you have to own the full version. If you own the player and any Kontakt 5 library, you can do a crossgrade. Somebody's talking, Johan's talking about this crossgrade. If you own any library and the Kontakt 5 player, you can do a crossgrade very affordably. And if you wait until like Christmas and like Black Friday coming up later this year, they do even lesser expensive prices to get the full version of Kontakt 5. But you have to have the full version of Kontakt 5 for any of my libraries. I've stopped supporting the Kontakt player because it was too big of an investment. This library I'm going to sell for $69. And if I had made it with the Kontakt 5 player, it would probably be $149 because it's like over $15,000 I have to pay to compile and serial numbers I have to pay for. And sorry, I'm not going to do that because then I have to make you guys pay for it. So crossgrade is the way to go. Buy one of the libraries that you want to use, something from Spitfire Audio, something made for the Kontakt 5 player, and then do the crossgrade to get Kontakt 5. And then all of ADO, none of their stuff uses the Kontakt 5 player. None of my stuff uses the Kontakt 5 player. It's just, it's too big of an expense that I have to pass on to you. And I'd rather sell those for $69 instead of $149. I can sell Super Macho drums for $69, and it used to be $199. It's a very big difference in price when you take how many, I'm a small little boutique sound designer, right? I mean, a handful of people in the world know about me, but I don't sell thousands of copies of these. I've never had a library, I think, sell over 1,000 copies yet. So I'm not a big I don't have the huge, you know, I mean, I think Heaviosity, they sell thousands of copies. And so they don't, you know, the investments and stuff are just small investments in the development because they're such a huge company. I don't have that exposure. I'm not that big. And that's okay. I like where I am and I like what I'm doing. But I'm not going to charge you guys for my development fees because they're very expensive. So get Kontakt 5. So the filter can be bypassed for either one of these, which is cool. Also, down here, a lot of these sounds, like if you Jedediah Smith, there's a growth in the samples. If I want, I have a sample start for this too. So I can hit right. And it might click. And if it clicks, just bring the attack up a little bit. So you can do that. And there's a random for the sample start. And this random is a wider range than the one used for the attack element. So with those tools, you can do a great deal of things to the sounds. Being able to skip the filter for one of the two layers, different sample starts, and you also have key tracking. So I can take some of these that are more clicky, right? And now it's the same. Or anything in between. I can bring this up a little bit. So it's just a small amount, and I'm really happy that Aaron was able to find a way to do this as a value between 0 and 100, so that you can have various, instead of like 0, 25%, 50%, a lot of things I've worked with give you a couple choices for pitch tracking, but this is... So those are really flexible tools to do a whole lot with, because an attack sound down here, up here, it goes away. So if you can bring this down so it changes some, it actually works really well to make you think that it's working across the keyboard in conjunction with the sounds. So that's really cool. The other thing, either one of these oscillators can be playing. Let's do this. Let's call up something like Lost Coast. Turn this down. Either one of these layers can be playing the modular synthesizer waveforms. So I can... And just last night, I was talking to Aaron, I was like, you know, is there any way I could make this do detune when I'm on the synth waveforms? And he sends me an update. So now it's doing detune. And I'll show you, on top of this, in the modular list, is also, you'll see unison. I have a cloud, which is this really cool cloud generator that can create either 2-voice, 4-voice, or 8-voice. And combining that with these big super unison detune things, like bring up. That's no effects. I mean, guys, this is, I get goosepimples. Now, on top of all this, here's our filter envelope. On top of this, we now can switch between any of these filter types. So if you want the ladder 4-pole low pass filter, click this. If you want to go to a high pass filter, high pass ladder, click here, and now you have, oh, it's so high. And you have bandpass filters as well. So you have a lot more filter types besides low pass and high pass like the other. And they get super fast. Here's velocity control to the filter. I mean, Kontakt 5, I've been trying to think, and please tell me in the comments if you see this, if you've ever seen in Kontakt 5 an EDM, in-your-face, aggressive synth that sounds like this. I can't think of one, so. And it's so fast to work with. And it just sounds so good. I mean, okay, so there's more cool to show. So I'm not done here. So let's get to the low pass filters again. One cool thing with this, when we start talking about all these effects and all these different parameters and stuff, is they're able to have, I'll show you the list, this is pretty cool. They're able to have default values when you control click. If you go to any of these and you control click, I have default values of where it should be. And you'll notice like the decay is not at 0 or at max. It's at a space that I wanted it so that it would be a musical decay, because it's easy to go max or minimum, but it's that in-between value that's really a pain in the butt to find. And so I found it, and that's part of this list that I gave to, over here, of Aaron for all of the parameters inside of this interface, what I wanted their defaults to be when you command or alt click on them, for the delays, for the tone verbs, for the distortions, for the lo-fi, for the glitch. Oh, you guys, wait till we get there. I'm going to show you glitch. Glitch is money. It is unbelievably cool what that can do. All right, so, well, it sounds like 9 Inch Nails. So one thing, you have 3 octaves down or 3 octaves up here to work with, so that I only gave these guys an octave range. And I think control clicking here is going to put it to dead center so that you can easily get to. So working between those and the 3 octaves up and down, you can get wider spreads. You can get a 2 octave spread between the attack and the body. Oh, just so I can show you real quickly, since this is also these same sounds, if I wanted my cloud modular 8 voice and I put one of these into a little bit slightly different sample start point, I now have 2 cloud modulars. Which is really cool. So if we go to, let's do, yeah, that's a good sound. See, if I This has a nice slow attack because it was a pad kind of a thing. So right? But if I want to use this for synth stuff, I need to move. There's a pitchy G, which is mega snappy. And again, the default for this decay is right where I want it. So you could be, this could be really weird, right? You hold down Command and click and thank you, nice and snappy. Okay, so there's pitchy G, there's a super nice filter EG. You have velocity controls right here, so if these are off, there's no control to anything, not even the amp. So a lot of dance music, you don't want that. If I want, I can have, and it's filter cutoff as control. Okay, so that's all good. The filters, the envelopes, that stuff is happening. And then we get to the effects and it kind of like goes into bonkersville. You have 6 different tabs that you can click and the graphics and the knobs will change. And there's a little on-off light for each of these. So you actually have 6 different effects right here to work with, plus delay and 2 different convolution reverbs. And each one of these has a presetted list that I've created of reverbs. The ambient verb is the blue, the tone verb. I even had Matt do the text that the tone verb yellow is like this, and then the delay is purple. And the tone verb is all sorts of really weird orchestra hits, band hits, weird reverbs with noise, spring reverbs, stuff like that. So it's got, this adds character. In fact, if we turn this off and went to just go to the, see how it's a weird reverb? All right, turn pitchy G off because it's affecting. Key track. Oh, I had this in the negative. It's bipolar. Okay, so compare that reverb to nice reverb. So if we have a synth waveform, let's have the synth waveform go through this. Like just a saw. And the saw DSP is the ES1 sawtooth, which I really like the shape of. So that is so that's reverb, that's more tone. Okay. If we go to the sine wave real quick, there's a spacey sine wave from one of the wavetape. Let's go to just pure sine. Distortion. I'm not a big fan of the distortion, but it's good on sine waves. Okay. The lo-fi is really cool. Let's see, so if we go over here and turn down the noise. You have both the sample rate as well as the bit resolution. Okay. I'm going to show glitch in a minute. You have a compressor, which you could do snappy stuff if we went back to a... Bring the threshold down. You have a mix control. So you can compress it. You have the transient designer. Get more snap. Really killer EQ. And if you narrow the width, you can get like filter EQ. Or really wide. And just a little bit goes a long way. That's without the EQ. Okay, and then glitch. Glitch is the coolest thing. Let me check comments real quick to see what's going on. Synth is too quiet. There, is that better? Okay, glitch. This is similar to the glitch that we have in other instruments. All of them have glitch because you can do some really cool like eighth notes, have it do octaves, and have it do like 5 repeats. So. But we have some different things here. We have a glitch note length, which if it's set to hold, it stops when you take your hand off the keys. Don't use Dolby. I'm not using Dolby. Okay, or you set it to length, and then how long does it hold down the note and repeat? And then Aaron did this, the stereo. So the first one's in the middle, and then after that, or even the same pitch, and then speed it up. For this really wide attack, take some. You can get like tons of. So all the experimental guys out there like to do weird. It's crazy. Oh, because I have so many notes of polyphony. The repeats can go up to 64 repeats. It just depends on if you want to get that carried away with your repeats. Make sure you have the polyphony and the computer power to do it. It's good about 5, 6. Video game stuff. All that kind of stuff is possible. So glitch became seriously upgraded with. There's mono, stereo, and you have again a parameter that's a variable. It's not just an on and an off switch. So between these 6 effects, the delay, which is a stereo delay. The width can be set wide, so you can have glitch. Check this out. Let's say 8th note glitch, and delays are also wide. So the possibilities for the patches are just So I have Airwave, Exosun, Kid Anthem. A couple other people are going to be making patches for this. There'll probably be 300 patches, I'm guessing, by the time we release it in the middle of September. That's my target, depending on how smoothly the move into my new house goes and stuff like that. Full Kontakt 5 version required. Yes, I see questions. What instruments did you record for these samples? I'm not going to give the specific modular synthesizers that I sampled because those guys have emailed me and asked me to not share what companies I sample. I've had 3 different companies. It's a funny thing. It's a funny discussion, and so I'm not going to get into it. But I have a whole bunch of modular. Most of this modular synth. If let's see here, like that. So let's see, so you can see it closer. I'm losing my earbuds. Let me get this in. But here we go. I'll give you the rundown of what I have, so you can see that. I can't tell if you can see or not, but this is the. I love the Pittsburgh mod. This is their DNA symbiotic waves. It's got wave tables and it's got a math function, so you can like seriously mangle. Braids is like if you were going to buy a modular synthesizer, I would get Braids first, because Braids is a it's digital based, and it has probably, I think, 45 different types of synthesis and different filter, low pass filter, FM, distorted noise. It's actually got physical models which are simplified. They're not very complex, but they're still cool. This is the cloud engineering, the cloud generator right here. That's from Synthesis Technology. The Richter anti-oscillator is a killer oscillator. These are the Atari chips. I have 2 of them, so I can run Atari modular and stereo. This is the new Waldorf NW1, which is a wavetable synth. Sounds incredible. Down here, there is the Basilius Eterius, I never can say it right, from Noise Engineering for drums. It's just a drum synth. The DPO is one of my favorite. Make Noise DPO for your analog waveforms is one of my favorites. Weapons of mass destruction. This is their Geiger counter. IntelliGel envelopes. As you can see, these are all oscillators from all of these guys. Because my goal with a modular is more as like, these are my cows in my field, and I'm using them for source. And so I'm not necessarily going to be I will be at the new house writing music with them and stuff and so forth. But a lot of what I do with this is every modular synth has its own personality and its own sounds. Yeah, Junkie XL. Check him out on YouTube if you want to see someone really get into modular synthesizers and all the stuff that he has going on. He's got some very... He just did a new one on plugins that he uses all the times. That was really nice. Great channel. Every modular synthesizer I've spoken to has said start with Braids. Yeah, Braids is a great place to start because it's one module and it can do many different modules. Do a look for Make Noise. Or wait, that's Mutable Instruments is the name of the company. If you search YouTube, Mutable Instruments Braids, that and an envelope, and I tell you, get the Korgasmatron filter. It's an incredible filter. I get it. Sounds awesome. I hate using modular stuff, but it's nice to that's just it. I'm not a modular purity sit there and I need to work in modular, and you know, Richard Devine will sit there and make these things out of spaghetti that are just really awesome, and I would never have the patience to do that. That's just not where my focus is. So it's a source, and so I used it to create some sounds. Some are pure waveforms where it's just sampling the raw waveforms. Other things I processed in some cool ways to get the different sounds. Oh, let's turn off glitch. So there's work to do. It's not done by any stretch of the imagination, but it's far enough that I really wanted to show what I'm working on. I'm really excited about it, and it's going to be very nice when it's done. It's making some very cool sounds that make me very excited already. And it's a different spirit than Omnisphere. Omnisphere is more polished and not quite as raw in a way. And so this will be more the raw version of Del Norte. We'll do chill things as well for it. So we'll have pads and it'll have breathy, windy things. It's really easy to combine these different wind noises with some of the really cool, like, even this would be really pretty. And have this fade out. And then put processing and ambience and space on it, EQ it right. And I could probably do something where I skip, because these sounds are more pure. I don't need the filter, so I could use this filter to do it's really easy to do stuff like that. With the ability for each of these guys to have a skip the filter button, it's really cool to mix and match where one thing gets filtered and one thing doesn't. And a lot of these sounds, when I sampled them as a, not just a raw, super bright waveform, but as a patch. So it's going to be a very nice combination. Some of them are super bright and in your face when you get to like the Lost Coast. Now, I want to point out also, one cool thing that's unique is right here the output. Right now it's set to the insert effect chain, and I'm going to set up the insert effect chain to have a series. When you hit insert effects, you can see I have a compressor, a limiter, I have chorus, I have phasers. And you have 4 more slots, so you could go right here to effects. This is what you don't get in the player, is you can go in and quickly go here and add any of these effects to the chain, or bypass them. So the compressor limiter on some sounds like this, you really hear it hitting and limiting it, right? So you can either bring down your volume or just go to the stereo, and now it skips the effect chain. So compare that to this. And again, I haven't finalized. I want the relationship between the two to be more natural. But there will be an audible difference when you're using the insert effect chain versus just stereo. Also, you can hit the tool wrench in the full version of Kontakt 5. And I have set up so that if you go to the filter and you hit edit, there is an LFO ready to be called up and used. So if this is using the filter, it's happening. It's right there, ready to use. The way that Kontakt 5 works is you can, and you hit this button to go down and see what it's set to. Here's your rate. So I have everything set up for LFOs. LFOs isn't one of those things for most of these sounds that you need, but it's right there under the skin in the editor. If you need to go in and edit and add an LFO, it's already added. You just bring up the intensity and control the speed. Same for amp. If you go to the amplifier and hit mod, here we've got the envelope and here's an LFO for volume. So bring this up and now you have a volume envelope as well for the LFO. So I do have the LFOs, but they're not on the front screen because 90% of you will never need to use an LFO. And if you need to use an LFO, you hit the tool wrench and then you go over here and hit the mod, and there it is. So it's really easy to add those types of parameters. They will be there available if you need them, okay? But for most of us, we will just be living right up here in the simple interface, not having to change pages, quickly flipping around, making our sounds the way you want to work. So that's how that works. Let me see what our discussion is going on the chat. Can I rename and save my own presets? Absolutely. That's one of the nice things with the full version of Kontakt 5 is you just go right here and let's see. We're currently seeing Kontakt or multi-mode because it's hidden. But if you go to this mode and you go save as, here it is. Give it the name that you want and save it. So you can save as many, make them in your own folder. Go to town. Save as much as you would like. Absolutely. You can't get in. We have the script is password protected because that's where all the magic stuff is at. That's protected. But you can get to the wave editor if you need to edit waves. I don't suggest doing that. But you have all of the synth parameters that are right here for adding LFOs. Getting into some more specifics, if you want to do where you go to the filter and instead of it being, let's see if we go to the mod, instead of the envelope being this way for the ADSR or for that LFO, you can hit the values and have a lookup tables, and you can edit everything to your heart's desire to get more specific things happening. Absolutely. Am I working on anything right now? Not right now for Serum. Loom is on sale. What do you think about it? Loom is a really cool synthesizer. Let's do some customer questions for a while. So I'm gonna go over here. I'll show you Loom. I don't understand Loom. I will tell you this. I have Loom, and where is it at? The Air Music Technology. I bought this. Actually, they sent this to me, and it's really nice they did. But I don't understand it. The reason I do libraries a lot of times is to understand how a synth works. And so at some point I'll probably sit down and try to get more into this. But it's got a very unique sound. Where's our presets? So Meet Loom, here's where we have our... Because it's partial based, it's additive synthesis, which there's not a lot of synthesizers that fall into this category.
And after all, it's just the emotion that matters. And after all,
and if you want, you can turn on.
And after all, it's just the emotion that matters. And after all, it's just the emotion that matters.
And instead of being a repeater, you can click here and have this be all sorts of different things. Filtering modules for a comb.
And after all, it's just the emotion that matters.
And you see all these boxes. Each of these boxes can be a different synthesis and do some just rhythmic things, time modules.
And after all, it's just the emotion that matters. And after all, it's just the emotion that matters.
You have envelopes that can be modulating.
After all, it's just the emotion that matters.
I mean, it's...
And after all, it's just the emotion that matters. And after all...
This affects the partials. I don't have it set up quite right. But you get the idea. You have all of this controllability. And when you go through the patches, you'll see... You have parameters. How many filters you want. So it's edited and changed in a different way. But I really found that the pads, there's some really cool, because there's things, you see it's tickling all these harmonics in unique ways. If you need a new synthesizer, this is one place I would say would be nice to look. Its interface is a little intimidating, but you have envelopes down here, you have envelopes over here, or the LFOs over here, global pitch controls. It's nice. After I get into the studio in the new place and set up, there's some other synthesizers I want to introduce you guys to. Also, I should point out another cool thing that's happening. Just getting here. Did I miss anything? No, you didn't miss anything. We covered Del Norte for Kontakt 5, and you'll want to watch it again because it's really cool what we're doing. It's really cool. Check the video when it's posted, for sure. Check 3 dots right if the text live above chat. Yeah, if you want to have 2 screens, people are talking about that. A preview of Del Norte for Kontakt 5 is what I showed as the main thing today. Glad you could make it, Mike. Welcome. But check this out. There's a company I am working with. I don't endorse a lot of companies. I kind of shy away from that. But I am going to be working with these guys on built in-ear monitors. These are truly world-class in-ear monitors from 64 Audio. I've listened to a generic pair, and now I have sent them my ear impressions, and they have a store here in, well, their facilities are in Vancouver, Washington. And they're making in-ear monitors that will have my logo on them. The sound quality, this is 18 drivers. This is the A18 Czar. These are extremely expensive. But I'm really looking for a pair. When I'm using, these are little clips, little $60 earbuds. And anything that I do sound-wise in here, sound-wise doesn't convey to anywhere near what I would do when I'm working with my Genlec speakers and speakers. But if I bring up the speakers, I get feedback from the microphone, and it's just a mess. So this is the best solution I have found for something that's like close to really high-end monitors. It's 18 drivers. And I'll be talking a whole lot more about these in the future with more details when I have them and I can do a review of them. But these guys are awesome. You've got all these colors and all these different things you can do to design, and they have starting at, I don't know what the price range is, but they are not all the way up. These are over $2,000 for these earbuds. But these guys, they have Adele, all the big artists that you see, a lot of them live are switching to using 64 Audio because their quality is just pretty stunning. And so if you need like truly trusting in your ear killer sound, this is the solution I'm looking at. So I think they might work for mastering. Again, I'm going to put them through all sorts of rigorous tests. It takes 3 weeks for them to make them. So they do it by hand. I've been to their facilities, and they've got 30, 40 people sitting there putting drivers into little circuit boards that go into here. They have a 3D technology printing room that I can't even go into. They won't show and let anybody in there for the technology that they use for printing from the ear molds that you send them. The thing that stops people from doing this is you have to go to a hearing specialist and pay them. I paid $60 for impressions of your ears. It's actually an impression of your ear. They have generic ones as well, but it's better if you do it where it's based on your ears, because then they fit precisely. I mean, it's like made to your ear. So that takes a little bit of work to make an appointment and go and pay. And I had a hearing test when I was there because I am 53 and I have excellent hearing. So I was really happy. I'm very careful at concerts, and I don't go to a lot of concerts, and so I'm really happy my ears are still working pretty well. So that was actually a good to have that happen for free and get impressions at the same time. So if you haven't had your ears test, here's a chance when you're doing this, say, hey, can I do a hearing test too? Because they'll pop you in and they play the tones at different frequencies, and you click a button when you hear them, and they'll say, well, yeah, you got really good hearing. So that's what I'm going to definitely be endorsing these guys, but to what level and whether I recommend these for mastering and stuff, that I don't know until I actually am working with them and using them myself. So we'll see. That remains to be seen. Yeah, they're very expensive. Well, the Genlec monitor, I mean, monitors can be really cool. Studio monitors that you see in studios are $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for the really big 3-way in the wall big things. So for doing that type of technology that they're doing, where there's 18 separate drivers, numerous ones dedicated to different frequencies, it's not cheap. Am I planning to include an arpeggiator? Well, I'm not going to include per se an arpeggiator because it's really easy to add. All you have to do to add an arpeggiator, and that's one thing where I guess you would want a separate page. I didn't do that for this first version, maybe for a future version. I don't know. If you want, all you do is go to the script editor to this empty part 2, and say preset, and you can say to the factory to sequencing, and here's an arpeggiator, and I now have, let's see, mode is on. Let's see, yeah, I was doing a weird synthy sound, right? So let's do this. Let me reload the if you go over here to the script editor, to any of these 4 slots can be any of the scripts that they have, and you go presets, factory, arpeggiator, and let's see. I'll have to do a oh. Why am I not hearing this? I'll have to see why I'm not hearing this, and I'll explain this when we do the full review. We'll find out why. I don't know why it's not working. It should be working, but it's easy to add an arpeggiator. Most of this computer software sequencers have an arpeggiator built into them, but I will use an arpeggiator probably to make some patches like I did for Mega Magic Guitars, where it's arpeggiated and there's arpeggiator on, but you have to go into the script editor to get to it. If I recall, if you go Mega Magic Guitars complete to the single patches, bonus patches, bass, a lot of these BPMs. I can't remember which one of these were. Yeah, here's the arpeggiator. So the arpeggiator is happening. And glitch. So it's possible to happen. I don't know why it's not. We'll figure out what's going on. So here's some of the things that we did for the bonus patches for Mega Magic Guitars. So you can expect similar insanity and more for Del Norte. What other questions have we got? John, are you planning to include it? Yeah, the arpeggiator is easy to add, or there's all sorts of ways of arpeggiating. What other questions? This stream has 2 different interfaces and community of participants. YouTube and live stream link you to send out an email. Live stream allows to enlarge the screen and see chat. Yeah, I haven't used Super Chat. There's a way to use Super Chat. It's a fun new way to monetize your live stream. I have no desire to monetize my live stream. So let's see, any other questions? And if not, we will wrap it up shortly. Thank you for joining me. I hope this has been, it's been a crazy week with moving, and I'm starting to move stuff. And so I want to keep doing live streams, even if it's just to hang out and say hi and, you know, eat a cookie with you. So let me know if you have a question. Shoot away. I'm here for you guys every week. Are you thinking of creating sounds for the Rolly Seaboard Rise? No. I might in the future, but they don't support third-party libraries. There's no way to set something up where it would look nice. Hey, Jazz Rock. Welcome from Germany. You're never late. Video gets saved and backed up and all that stuff. Move to Portland. Help me move. That'd be cool. Yeah, because I have a moving van and 2 guys coming on the 27th, and I could save that. Oh, what am I doing for the Eclipse? I'm staying here. There's crazy traffic. Here in Portland, they have like 17,000 rental cars that have all been rented, from what I hear. So people are arriving at the airport without a car to rent. I will be taking photos of the Eclipse. I have a telescope. And I have, well, here's the thing. So there's rumors based on the weather app that it's going to be cloudy. We've had summer days here in Portland. A lot of times it's cloudy in the morning, and then it breaks free about 11:30. and then it's all sun the rest of the day with no clouds. And if that's the case, then we won't see the eclipse. And if that's the case, I'm going to be sending my eclipse glasses back. Oh, I could show you this. Check this out. So I did do a test with the telephoto. Let's see if I can find it here. If we go Dropbox, I think it's in the photos. Check this out. See if I can find it really quickly. There's the interface. Oh, a friend of mine is a photographer. This is in Canada. Check this out. So we've had really cloudy days. The smoke is so thick from the forest fires that you can't see the beautiful Canadian mountains. It makes a really interesting backdrop, but it was kind of disappointing for him to get all the way up there, and there's like 200 plus fires in Canada right now, and so they caused the mountains to basically disappear. But let's see if I can find... Is it here? No, it's... I have two different folders. It's the uploads. That's not the camera uploads. It's the one that just says photos. Yeah, so check this out. This is my telescope, and this picture was taken with my iPhone, believe it or not, of the moon. So I have a telescope that I bought that has an attachment so you can put your iPhone and use the iPhone camera to look through the telescope and let you see what's on the telescope on your iPhone display, which is a bigger thing and easier to use than trying to look through the little eyepiece. And we had an almost full moon, so I took some pictures of the full moon. Came out pretty cool to see this kind of detail of the moon. So we'll try this with the eclipse if we can see it. I would like to do that. Hey E, Big E. Yeah, traffic in Portland is supposed to be really bad. Here in Portland, the eclipse is at 99.2%. So getting to go to where it's 100%, they're talking it could take hours of driving. Any thoughts on SoundCloud? I don't think SoundCloud's going to go anywhere. I think it's become so big and so standardized. All of the demos on my website, all of those demos are played from SoundCloud. And I pay for the professional $100 a year to subscribe. I would pay more to keep them afloat because they have a cool community. It's a standard. People use them everywhere. The bandwidth of these, it just boggles my mind to think about the bandwidth of all these different companies and how much bandwidth they are spending for YouTube, for the videos that are uploaded and live streamed and all this stuff. I mean, it's just mind-blowing to think that each day it's thousands of terabytes per day. I mean, think about that. For a year. Then you take 16 years. Go back to 2015. You can find videos online, right? That means everything is backed up. Just where is it stored? How do they back it up? How do you make a backup of 1,000 terabytes? I mean, xenobytes. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. Go to the mountaintop and send drone. I know it's time for some new drone photos. I haven't done any new drone photos lately. So we're due for some water, but I'm moving. So that's kind of like that. I got to get through that first, and then I can get into more nature and stuff. But any more questions? Happy to answer questions. If people have questions about anything, how about a deep dive on the Korg Kronos? That would be fun. I would need to wrap my head around. I have spent years and years programming on the Kronos, but I've forgotten a lot of it. Because if you don't use synthesizers like that every day, you tend to kind of get fuzzy on a lot of it. So I'm not sure how beneficial that would be. A lot of the questions you would have are probably things that you got to realize when I'm programming for Korg, a lot of times they're sending me a synthesizer with no manual, no names on any buttons. I'll show you at some point some pictures of prototypes. Pure silver, aluminum top, sliders, the layout of what's going to be, but I don't know what anything is. And I have, 4 weeks, 6 weeks to make as many sounds as I can. So I'm not learning that instrument inside and out. I'm learning its sound engines. I'm learning the parameters, and I'm making the most musical, expressive my sounds as possible. But I'm not learning that synthesizer, and I'm not going to be using it live. So it's a whole different approach for me using these synthesizers and doing voicing work for companies. I'm not learning that synth inside out so I can learn everything that it can do in performance mode with my sequencer attached to Cubase. I never get anywhere close to that when I'm doing that kind of work. So it's different than you sitting there and trying to use it in a certain musical application. So I don't know how helpful the deep dives would be, but just be aware that's kind of when, I mean, that's what I do when I'm programming these instruments, is you're learning the instrument and its personality and its fortress, and what's the focus of what it's strong at, and emphasizing that and going from there. So yeah, have you had a chance? I have played with PPG Infinite a little bit. It's awesome. I really like what it does sonically. It's definitely a deep dive, if we want to call it such a thing. I do have some screenshots that I showed last week. We will be, in the future, I'm going to be doing live streaming video from the iPad apps and stuff like that, for sure, to show how all that works. Yeah, here is Infinite. I have Nave, and so it has some of the similarities to Nave in the 3D waveform stuff that you can do, but it goes way up the scale. Some of it's a little intimidating, but you have time envelopes and you have morphers and all sorts of things that are new and unique. It doesn't even have keys that look like musical note keys. So it gets into experimental pretty easily, but it can do music as well. But between morphers, molders, and noisers, it's very, very clever in concept, but it's going to take a while to understand it. But I'll show it once. At some point here, I will have a newer computer that can support all the stuff I want to do live stream wise. Yeah, there's really cool video. Once I get in my house, this will be my house. I've been in a rental house. This house and previous ones were both rental houses. And so there's only so much I can do to the house. I can't put sound panels up that are permanent. I've got my studio gear kind of set up, but ready to tear down and move. So there's a lot of stuff I never plugged into my racks. But now I'm moving to my house. And so I'm meeting in Tuesday with someone to go in and put hardwood floors into the studio room. I've got my panels that I'm going to set up to start with and see how the room sounds. And then we'll order nice panels and nice designs and all that stuff in the future. But the advice I've been given for rooms is to get into the room and listen and learn the room and what needs to be done to the room, instead of just doing everything that you could do to make it a perfect environment. Because that's not necessarily what you need. You need something where you're hearing your speakers, what you're getting is accurate, and what you create here, you can go play in your car and it sounds really great. You can play it somewhere else. I can sell a library, send it to you. And yeah, there won't be a live stream next week. I'm just telling you right now, there will not be a live stream next week. Everything will be torn down and I'll be moving. So that week will be off. Maybe hopefully the week after that, we'll be back and I'll be in a different room and it'll be a whole different thing. So, yeah, if you take the next week off, I will take next week off. Just telling you. At some point, I have to unplug the computer and stop making sounds, right? So we will be doing that. You guys are sniffing because of no live stream. Well, maybe I'll hook up the computer and say hi, but you know, if there's not something to show, I tend to not. I don't want to just waste everybody's time. It's cool that there's 53 of you hanging out, but yeah, homeowner. Me playing Gary Moore's Empty Rooms. Oh yeah, hey, let's do this. Let's do a couple questions. What music are you guys listening to right now? Pop up something on the list. I'm going to share something that one of my customers shared that's really cool. Let's do this. Go mail. But pop a list up of music you're listening to and enjoying. I will tell you this. The new gold frap is really cool. I really like the new gold frap. Big E in the chat and myself are going to see gold frap in September. They're going to be here in Portland. And it's really a great album. But I can't show... Let's see. Let's see if you can hear it. I don't know. We'll find out. That's right here. Guy named Max Cooper. Do you guys know Max Cooper? This was really interesting. He actually asked me to make this patch. Let's see. So if I go to system preferences, if I go to sound out, use multi-output device, I'll probably break everything. But if I do that, let me just ask real quickly. Can you hear this? If I go here and hit play, it's thinking. Huh. Never mind. Max Cooper, 4-tone reflections was really cool to listen to. I really liked that. He has a whole album that's really interesting for kind of like a future library of like really experimental, cool, other alternative kind of sounds. It was really interesting. So I'd like to do that in the future at some point. Oh, look at the names. Marillion Fear. Oh, Lila Hathaway. Warduna from Norwegian. Cool. Yeah, Big E's listen to Goldfrapp. Their new album is great. There's a couple songs on there that are really awesome. Oh, Osrix. Osrix Tentacles, yes. Mike Cross is in the house. Hey, MC. Eva Cassidy. Great. Yeah, Hans Zimmer's got some good stuff, of course. The HUVA network. Yeah, the new Depeche Mode's great, too. It's new, or was it? Yeah, I think it's a new Depeche Mode. A lot of people on Facebook are talking about that. New K-pop stuff. MC, like, what kind of K-pop? Do you have a group? BT, always. Yes, BT's something that is inspiring. And I like a lot of BT stuff. Oh, we got some URLs popping up for some of the tracks. Great. Here, I can do that. Here, here, if you want to hear this, let me pop this into the chat URL so you can go here and check this out. Really interesting. And I can show you the sound. He asked me to make this sound, and I like those kind of challenges, so spent like 15-20 minutes and let's see, initialize the multi. The beginning of the track starts with this really interesting sound. Oh, I dragged the wrong thing over. Drag this over. Go to here to user. It's using a cool trick with the Arpeggiator just playing, and then I have an LFO, and I was trying to do it kind of different to change the right here. So show modulation, there's two LFOs. Taking it from a major to a suspended fourth. It's just doing so that's kind of like what he was doing. He just was like, sound-wise, what would you do to approach that? So that's what I would do to approach that type of a thing. Oh, the new Enigma album. Oh, wow. Cool. I like Enigma. Max Cooper, people are saying is cool. Yes. Hall & Oates. Awesome. Oh, yeah. Tycho is great. Love Tycho. There's one album that I love. Well, I love Group Therapy. Above and Beyond is one of my favorite records from them. Where is so many Bass Nectar I've been listening to a lot lately. That's crazy big hairy stuff, but man, oh man, he's a talented guy. Towards the end here, I have way too many albums. I doubt if I will see it by scrolling through my playlists in iTunes. I hate iTunes, by the way. The way it works is just the worst. I mean, it works, but finding things easily, quickly, nope. I wish I could share who this is, but yeah, Tycho's great. I have some Tycho albums. Tycho for those of you playing along at home. Of course, I love Skrillex, and it's really fun to listen to his newer albums and his early old albums and listen to how he's changed. It's changing a lot in different directions and stuff, which is really cool. 9 Inch Nails, he has a new album out. I like the older stuff more than his new stuff. Massive Attack, I love all the time. Massive Attack is just the best. I love Massive Attack. Yeah, Spotify is easier to use than iTunes at this point, believe it or not. So go figure. Nick Beto's rant against Apple. I'll have to check that out because I have my own share of rants. You want to know an interesting rant? Check this out. So like in a previous version of the Apple iOS, you could go to your email list and delete all your email at once. And they've taken that away. So I currently have 6,556 email on my phone. And I've called and talked to Apple and complained about it to them because the only way to delete them is one at a time. And I get junk mail because I've had the same email addresses for, a long time. And it's just frustrating. But oh, there it is. The link, I got to watch that. The rant on Apple. That'd be good. Question, do you have videos on working your patches? MC, send me an email giving me specifics of what type of working with my patches in Kontakt 5 would help. Because I'm not sure. Apple is fixing iTunes, so they say. I don't have. We'll see. They can fix their emails so that you can delete all your email at once too. Because I use it just for referencing things, and then deleting all the email, and it backs up and it saves the actual mail on my computer. So my phone is just a reference when I'm not at home, and I don't even look at mail now because it's just going to add more to that list. Tangerine Dream is great. Yes. It's good for you if you like crap. Apple, it's good if you like crap. Okay, interesting. Well, let's wrap it up. Let's do a location shout out. Where are you at? Say hey from wherever you are. I'm saying hey from Portland, Oregon. Hey from Portland. So glad you guys could join. It's fun every week to hang out. Best from Poland, from Holland, Sweden, from Bothell, Washington, Long Beach, California, Dublin, Anto, Dublin, awesome. Sweden, Germany. I love it. It's just so fun to see all the names from everywhere. You guys we are a global family. It's pretty cool. Seattle, New York, the UK, Germany. God, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that you are all my customers. I thank you sincerely, truly, for your support, for making this happen. It's so fun. It's something I look forward to every week, just like you guys do, it seems. So, but next week there will be no live stream. I'm going to be moving, but the week after that I will be, hopefully, I'm going to do, well, we'll do it later. I won't announce anything else, but thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. And we will see you soon. Be well, everybody. Let's all hope the eclipse goes well and the Earth doesn't end. All right. See you guys later. Let me hang up the phone. And we will talk to you soon. Okay? Bye.